Ooh boy, the Linux squad is gonna hate me for this one. Guys, I have a confession to make, okay? I'm gonna be like freaking Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers for a second and say that I have been using Linux. For the past couple of months, I have been using Linux, and it has honestly been some of the most frustrating stuff I've ever been across. Not really, I'm not gonna lie. Linux is honestly a pretty good operating system. I actually love how clean it is, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys right now, okay? I am not the most adept programmer. I'm not the craziest person that comes when it comes to, computer programming or learning how like Windows or Mac or whatever anything works. But I just want to be honest with you guys. I have been using Windows for most of my life, as everyone pretty much has, and I had to forcibly get onto Linux recently just because of the fact that I've had no computer for a little while now. So I've actually been using my Steam Deck, I don't know if you can see that, for actual, using everything for like my videos or playing games or whatever, anything like that. I'm still trying to get my actual PC made. It is going to come, I swear it's not going to stay in the shadow realm, but I have been trying to make this PC for a long time, but I've been trying to make do with my Steam Deck. Now, my Steam Deck has actually pretty much served me very well. I love this thing. Like, I love my Steam Deck. I wouldn't change the OS. I wouldn't change the games. I wouldn't change anything about it. The only thing I would probably change about it is just me being able to have read and write commands on this thing, because I'll get to that later, but I love the Steam Deck with a passion. This thing has been helping me make my videos recently, and honestly, I have so much to give to it. So much so that I learned that this is a fork of Arch Linux. I don't know what you would call it, but it's basically what this thing runs on is a form of Linux called Arch Linux. And Arch Linux is one of the most difficult of versions of Linux that is actually out there. So, and of course, if you guys don't know, apparently with Linux, there's so many different versions of Linux, like in terms of like distros or whatever, and Arch Linux is definitely one of the hardest. Now, SteamOS is basically what the Steam Deck actually runs on, and it runs on a version of a heavily modified version of Arch Linux. Now, I've been using this for a little while now, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? I am on my desktop right now, as you guys can actually see. And I honestly, this is honestly nothing crazy or incriminating or anything like that. But honestly, this is what I got on my freaking thing, right? So it's a regular like computer, right? I'm not going to lie to you. Like, this is not going to be like me bashing Linux or anything like that. But look how like clean everything is, right? First of all, you don't got any bloatware. You don't have any type of ads just on the start screen or whatever right here. You don't have craziness telling you to update your drivers and whatever, and it will break everything. No, you got a really nice and solid interface going on here. Now, this is running, of course, with the KDE interface or whatever you want to call it, and it's pretty nice looking. I'm not gonna lie to you. The files look really nice in the Dolphin, Windows Explorer, whatever. And then you got the dreaded, we'll get to this, and the terminal. The terminal should definitely be feared, especially if you're someone like me. And I will say, I will get back to this in a second, but look how amazing Linux is. Look how fast it is, right? Even with my Steam Deck, which is not the most powerful computer ever, look how like just amazing everything is on this. I don't even know how to describe it. I just believe that Linux is a very awesome operating system until you want to do certain things, right? So I'm gonna show you guys something right here, okay? I'm actually getting more heated as time goes on, but of course, I was looking around online and I saw a video of someone playing Sonic 1 Forever X Doki Doki Literature Club. I'm just going to show you guys why I decided to make this video. So I wanted to play this mod because I think everyone, I love Doki Doki Literature Club. I haven't played in a while, and honestly, I don't really remember too much of the plot, but I thought the girls were really cute. And seeing them in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, like, you see, look at this, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, I just think that's Sayori. You know, look at that. You got, was that Natsuki? Yeah, Natsuki right there. Is that Yuri probably? Yeah, it's Nuri. You can't even see Yuri. She might as well just be Blaze or something, right? And then you see someone like, Monica, and I just be like, oh my God, I want to play this mod. So I decided to actually update my Sonic 1 Forever, which I'm not going to show you guys how to do because I don't know if I'm going to be, took down or whatever. But I tried doing it, but of course I was actually on an old version of it. So I decided to actually update it. Now, if you want to update it, you actually go to their website and you actually go to this. Now, I downloaded the Windows version because the Windows version actually did used to run on Linux. So I downloaded it and everything and I got it running. And of course, now when I actually go to, like actually run it or whatever, as you guys can see, if I try to run it, and this happens in Steam as well, and I will, you know what? Frig it. I'll show you in a minute. But look at this. Black screen. Nothing happens. If you use Steam and you use the God knows how many freaking compatibility layers I try to actually use, you go into sonicforever.exe and you try to run it, and of course it's going to take a little bit. Like this is so boring. Okay, so obviously, look, still black screen, and I'm not like trying to edit this or anything like that to say that it's not, or I'm being too impatient. I literally waited on this little screen for like a minute one time, and nothing freaking happened. So I was like, okay, it doesn't work. So how am I supposed to get this to work? Well, long story short, this does not run natively on Linux anymore, right? And there's no way to get it to run on Linux. So as far as I know, FAQs, right? If you go look at FAQs, are the games compatible with operating systems other than Windows? Currently, our easy setup process is only for Windows. However, our standalone mods may function with installations of the DCOMs on other systems. Please note that this is untested and some features may not work as expected. Now, obviously, I did the same thing with one of the other versions. It doesn't really matter to me. I understand some of these things will not really work that well on Windows, but my version of the game was. So I looked on so many different places for just tutorials and stuff like that. And I found this tutorial by Silver8i about how to get it to actually work. So I'm going through this tutorial and I go to the 937 mark and I do this little, I copied a little thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do it again because I'll make another folder for it. But I copy this command and then I see, what is it? I see freaking this folder come up. So now, then in the video, then this guy says, next, copy the command, make J5, open the terminal in the folder that was created, and paste it to build the Team Forever's fork. So let's go on in and try to actually do that, guys. Let's do that, gang. All right, let's do it. Make J5. Oh, look at that. Make command not found. So this is where I got really freaking confused. And I looked on so many different things. I looked everywhere on like why this make file wouldn't actually run. I even looked in this file real quick and I was like thinking, oh, maybe there's a command in here that basically, like this is how you make it, right? And I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe you guys can actually help me out with this. But I didn't see anything, right? And I saw another one, same freaking thing. I don't freaking know. So I was confused. What just happened? Did I just delete it? What just happened? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what the heck just happened, guys. But the point of the matter is I tried to get this to actually work, and then I had to go to the freaking terminal again. I just had to figure out, like, why wasn't the make command not working? And I was like, okay, I gotta freaking start installing the dependencies and stuff like that. So at first, I'm looking online. I'm thinking about, do I have make on my computer? It says, oh, look, make command not found. Okay, so then I go to this freaking thing, and I try to install the dependencies and Pacman through Pacman and all this other stuff. So sudo Pacman SYU, password for a deck. And I'm not going to tell you guys my password, but look, it starts downloading files, right? And then you guys are going to see like a new little oopsie in a little second, right? So proceed with this installation. Why? Okay, yes. Okay, then it starts doing the keys or whatever. And then it says error. It says discover signature from GitLab CIA page, blah, 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 blah. And then it says something about like, as you guys can see, discover 62.5. Now, as you guys can see, the packages right there, it says it wanted to install Discover, Jupyter, lib32, Linux Neptune, Mango HUD, and it says now it's corrupted. Now, me being the dumb person I was, and I don't like to read, I just kept saying yes, 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 and then I thought everything was fine. So then after that, this is what I did. All right, I don't know exactly. Like the sequence of events. I was actually doing this all in, but I was basically trying to follow the tutorial. I actually don't think that was the first thing I did. I think what I did first was I tried to make sure that I was not in the read only mode. I was in the right mode for this. So I did this command actually. Hold on. It's the read SteamOS read only disable, so you can make changes to the computer. Then it says the root FCS is already read write. So then what I did was I then did Pacman key init. It does that. Okay, good. Then you go to the next one, which is let me see, populate Arch Linux. It does the same thing, appending keys from archlinux.gpg. Then after that, what did I do? I think you can tell this is off the cuff, right? Then if you do something like this and you try to get some more key rings in there, and then you try to install it, and then the same thing happens, right? And then look at that. What does it say? Error. Failed to commit transaction. Invalid correct package. PGP signature. I don't really exactly know what that means, but I just realized that there's a huge error sign. So then after that, what did I try to do? What did my boy self try to do? At this point, I actually tried to do, let's see. Actually, what did I try to do? I think at that point, I was like, oh, let me get the needed base level in there, right? So all this stuff, look, the make file, the make package is in there. That's the one that I need in order to actually build that Sonic 1 Forever thing, right? So I'm like, proceed with installation. And then it starts saying the same thing again. It starts saying, hey, look, this file is corrupted. Do you want to delete it? And I kept saying yes, like a little dumb self, like this. And then it just says literally all of these were actually corrupted, failed to commit transaction, all of that stuff once again. Then I go on ahead and I try to, see if I do have the make in my repertoire or whatever, right? It says command not found. I try to do the thing again in that freaking same folder. It doesn't work. And then I actually had the bright idea to actually look through the history of Linux, right? Or the terminal of what I was trying to do. And then I just realized to myself, oh, wait, I was a dumbass because look, I was basically deleting, Linux was basically Steam, whatever, I don't know, was deleting all of these files because they said they were corrupted. Now, the reason why I think they said this is because the package, acceptance or the freaking permissions are outdated, and now Steam OS thinks it's bad. And you would think that you would be able to actually get rid of that. You would think you would be able to just bypass that with a couple of commands or whatever. But the commands that I tried, which were all over the place, I don't even know, I probably did something here and they didn't work, right? So you know what? This is a long and drawn out way to say that I am frustrated. I am frustrated with Linux, right? This did not just happen with this one game. This has happened with stuff like my monitor and the dock that I'm actually using for this thing. It wasn't actually giving me audio. It wasn't actually literally showing on my screen. I'm not able to update certain games. I remember at one point I actually had this app, which is Discover, which is great. It's like an awesome app store kind of thing. It updates your packages all really fast. So as you can see right here, I'm actually going to show you guys, there's probably some updates already. There's usually a lot of updates. So as you guys can see, there's updates here, right? So easily, literally any app store on your phone or whatever, you can just click update all, and then it'll start downloading and installing the updates. Now, what's really cool about this is really cool, honestly. This is very freaking convenient. I love this, right? Because you can still keep using your applications, you can still keep using everything that you have, and it will just keep running, right? Now, you can do this with the terminal, but what's the need for a terminal when you got this? Look, I don't have to use the terminal because, the one bad thing about the terminal is, hey, I have to go inside of a command and I have to type out things in combinations of characters and words that I might not know by heart because I'm not always in the terminal, because I honestly try to avoid it. Because hey, can you really blame me? I mean, I think one of the advantages of Windows is just knowing that you don't have to be in the terminal all the time. Now, some people will be like, well, it's not really that hard to use the terminal, whatever. It's whatever. Some people don't want to deal with that. And I'm honestly one of them. I don't think this is actually going to do the thing that I'm trying to get at because everything is installing correctly. Yeah. So never mind. I guess Really? This is really okay. So everything is actually updated. That's actually really rare. Well, I'm not really rare, but this actually has been happening. There's been something that's been happening on this version of Linux where for some reason some things or some packages will just straight up not update. So I actually learned later on the reason why it was actually bothering me because they would keep telling me, you need to update this, you need to update this, you need to update this. And I'd be like, I can't update it because it literally does not update. So I had to realize, oh wait, there's a command to actually update every single application in your repertoire. So as you guys, I'm trying to go to this thing right here. You go to, what is it? Freaking, what is it? I forgot. See, look, I forgot what the command was, honestly. You do flatpak update. Right? For this specific version of Linux, you do flatpak update and it looks for updates, and honestly there's nothing to do, so obviously it's not going to do anything. But this is also the other way, or really the true way, that you're able to update your your applications on here, right? You can just do that. That's really easy. And honestly, hey, it's really efficient, right? I do understand why people want to do that. The problem is I didn't know about that, right? Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. YouTube is not the only thing that I do, okay? I make videos, I do track, I work out, I freaking try to manage my depression, I work a job. The point of the matter is that I have a lot of stuff to do in my life. So personally, for me speaking, I think Windows, something like Linux is actually, or Windows is pretty convenient to actually run because honestly, I don't have to do that much. Now, I will be honest, I understand that Linux has gotten a lot better about this stuff in the coming years because, hey, look, at one point, Linux used to be a lot more worse with the terminal and stuff like that. But I'm tired of stuff like literally breaking, right? There's also another problem that the Steam Deck personally, actually, or not personally, I don't understand. Like, one thing that really bothered me at one point was somehow I didn't have like the sound right on my Steam Deck, and that's another thing that you can actually actually fix with like the terminal and all this other stuff. I don't really freaking know, but like if for the fix, first of all, some people say like, oh, your Steam client might be muted with the audio like device volume manager. So you would go in here and you would load Steam up with your thing right here, and then you would go here to store like any random game, right? You just go to like, I don't know, Deltarune. Go to a trailer and then see if it actually plays, and then you can see applications, devices, and then it would say like Chromium. Chromium is where it's actually coming from, right? But obviously it's full volume, and I would literally look around for so long just for so many different people telling me what they think I should do. And then there was this one tutorial I saw where you go into your home folder, then you go into local, then you go into state, and if you want to get your like audio back on your thing or your Steam Deck, whatever, you delete this file right here because it has to do with these pulsed audio or something like that files in it. And this is honestly how you would be like, this is honestly how you would actually just delete the file. And honestly, I think that's great. I love the fact that I got that working, but the fact that I even had to do that in the first place, I don't know how other people use their computers, but I didn't have to do that ever with my my Steam Deck, not my Steam Deck, but my version of Windows. I didn't have to do anything like that for Windows, right? All right, guys, I'm also going to make a little update to this video. I mean, the main thing is about Linux or whatever, but I actually figured out how to make this work. What you're going to have to do is make freaking sure that the data.rsdk file, data and scripts are in here. Now, I don't know exactly which ones are in there, but I thought these two files right here were pretty important, and I also thought scripts was important. Upon doing so, when you launch sonicforever.exe, it just works. I also enabled this mod. Like, it doesn't just like come like just like this. It literally just works. I feel a little bit dumb for this. Like, am I dumb? I'm literally asking you. Like, comment and tell me if I'm dumb. I did not figure this out. Like, no one tells you about this, by the way. I kind of had to figure this out myself. So, am I dumb? I hate to say it because honestly, I do not like Windows's like reliance on telemetry, and I do not like the ads. I do not like the bloatware. I do not like I do not like where Windows is really going. But unfortunately, as a content creator And as someone who just wants things to work, I will say the reason why I'm actually going to be getting Linux eventually, I mean, not Linux, I keep saying that. Reason why I'm actually going to get Windows for my PC build is because of stuff like this. I really don't want to deal with little things like this. This stuff adds up, especially on someone who has depression, who has anxiety, who has ADHD, who's autistic, who has a lot of things going on in his head, and he doesn't want to deal with all this stuff. So the reason why I'm getting Windows and not Linux is just to have ease of use. Now, if you're a gamer, let me be honest with you guys. If you are just playing, just having one task, right? If you're like playing games, right, and you're not playing like everything is like the most like up to date, like topical game or whatever, right? Or if you're doing like simple productivity tasks like editing videos or making scripts or freaking writing a book, I don't freaking know. But like if you're doing stuff like that, I don't see a reason why not to recommend Linux to you, because Linux is honestly a really great operating system. Depending on the distro, it really doesn't matter because Linux all around is a great platform. But the problem with maybe someone like me who wants compatibility, who is a content creator, who needs the most up-to-date drivers, who doesn't need things to literally break for no reason because of random updates and whatever. And like, yeah, I get it, right? Windows breaks things too. Right? But again, that has never happened to me. It's like the thing where people say like, oh, well, Sony Vegas always crashes. Sony Vegas does not always crash. That's another story for another day, but like Sony Vegas does not crash. I don't know what you're doing, but like I'm not doing that thing. It's like when people say like, oh man, cars, you can't drive cars that much. You can't do the thing with the thing because the cars will have wear and tear on their cars and you'll have to pay so many bills and repairs and all this stuff. How do you be driving? How do you drive and manage your car for you to constantly worry about stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you not care or take care of your stuff, dude? I know people are probably just gonna like call me a dumbass here, but honestly, what are you like people who say like, don't download this, don't do this with your other computer, don't give administrative privileges and stuff like that? It really doesn't make any real sense to me because malicious files are very, very freaking obvious. If you don't know where the freaking file came from, if you don't see a trusted source, and if you don't have any type of reliable, I don't know, virtual machine or something like that you can actually run it on or to test or whatever, and you don't even really need to do all that. But the point of the matter is that it's not hard to manage a computer. It really isn't. Now if you want to go into the terminal and start doing all this fancy nancy lancy wancy, then that's your problem, that's your entire thing. But for the general user who just wants to use a computer for ease of use or tasks or gaming or whatever they want to do, then stuff like this is very inconvenient. But anyway, with that being said, I've been wanting to make this video for a while. There was actually a video where I was actually going to be praising Linux all around and just kind of, bashing Windows, honestly. And while I could definitely do the same thing in this video, I hope I at least gave some, great points on why Linux honestly is a great operating system. But at the same time, for someone like me who just wants to play hentai games, I just want to say that Windows is just better for me. I just think it is. Now, if there comes a time where Linux is a lot more usable, user-friendly, or when it's, not as reliable on the terminal is really what I'm getting at there, and it has a lot more support with drivers and stuff like that, because I've heard stuff about how like some people will have certain drivers that just are not up to date as they are on Windows, such as like NVIDIA and stuff like that. And I'm planning to get a 5070 Ti graphics card anyway, so you know what I'm saying. But for someone like that, I will say that poses a bit of a problem. But yeah, I decided to do that. I can't believe I just made this video, but I hope you guys actually did enjoy and understand my point with what I say about Linux. I don't think it's bad. I'm just gonna say that again. It's not bad. It's just not for me. If it's for you, that's good for you. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys like it, subscribe if you want to see more. If you didn't like this video, in the comment section down below why you hated it, and I definitely want to know why. But yeah, guys, with that being said, thank y'all for watching. Have a good night, everyone, for watching this, and as always, Johnny.